This video is not about America's collapse. It's about why your life is getting harder and why nobody is explaining the real reason. But this isn't a standalone story. This is part 3. If you skip the first 2 parts, you're missing the foundation, and nothing here will make sense without it. For most of history, empires ruled the world in a very visible way. If an empire wanted power, it sent ships, soldiers, and governors. It raised flags on foreign land. It collected taxes directly. People could see who ruled them. But after World War II, something changed. The world was tired of war. Colonies were rebelling. Occupation had become expensive, ugly, and unpopular. The old imperial model no longer worked. So a new kind of empire was built, quiet, invisible, and far more efficient. Instead of owning land, it controlled access. Instead of governors, it used money. Instead of armies marching through cities, it used rules, systems, and institutions. The United States didn't need to conquer the world. It just needed to organize it. Take military power first. In the old days, Britain ruled India by sending administrators and soldiers to live there. Spain ruled the Americas by settling them. The Soviet Union controlled Eastern Europe by occupying it. America chose a different path. Rather than ruling countries, it placed military bases around them. These bases didn't run governments or collect taxes. They didn't raise flags over capitals. They simply sat quietly near key places, shipping lanes, oil routes, borders, choke points. If something happened anywhere in the world, American forces could arrive in hours. And if things went wrong, they could leave just as quickly. It was like having security cameras everywhere instead of owning the building. You don't live there. You don't manage it. But you always know what's happening, and you can act if needed. This gave influence without responsibility, power without occupation. Then came the dollar. Old empires ruled people. The new empire ruled money. After World War II, the world needed stability. Trade needed a common language. So the dollar became that language. Oil was priced in dollars. Trade was settled in dollars. Debt was issued in dollars. Central banks held dollars as savings. Countries didn't need an American governor. They needed American currency. Imagine a world where one company controls the only payment system. You don't work for that company. You don't report to it. But if you don't use its app, you can't buy, sell, or trade. That's how the dollar worked. As long as everyone trusted it, the system ran smoothly. America could spend more, borrow more, and run deficits that would destroy any other country because the world needed dollars. Explain this in a simple way by giving simple hypothetical example. Imagine a small town with many shops and many people. Now imagine there's only one bank in that town whose money everyone accepts. Every shop, every salary, every loan uses that bank's notes. Because everyone needs those notes to survive, the bank has a special power. The bank can print extra notes to pay its own bills. It can borrow from people without worrying too much. It can even go into debt. Why? Because no matter what happens, people still need those notes to buy food, pay rent, and run businesses. Now, imagine one shopkeeper in that town starts spending more than he earns. He borrows, he delays payments, he runs big deficits. If he used any other money, he would collapse. But he uses the town's main money. So instead of panicking, people say, "It's fine. We still need his money." That shopkeeper is America. The banknotes are dollars. The town is the world. As long as the whole town trusts the money, the shopkeeper can keep spending. Now here's the key part. Imagine a different shopkeeper in the same town, just a normal one. If he spends more than he earns, his money isn't special. People don't need it. The bank won't save him. He goes bankrupt quickly. That's why deficits destroy normal countries. But America was different because its currency wasn't just its currency. It was everyone's currency. Let's make it even clearer. Think of it like a group of friends going on a trip. One friend carries the only credit card that works everywhere. Hotels accept it. Restaurants accept it. Flights accept it. That friend can pay later, borrow more, overspend occasionally, because everyone trusts that card. But if any other friend tries the same thing, their card gets declined immediately. America was that friend. The dollar was that card. This is why America could spend more than it produced, run massive trade deficits, borrow endlessly, and not collapse. Not because it was smarter, not because it was moral, but because the world needed dollars to function. But here's the warning part. This is crucial for your viewers. That power only exists as long as trust exists. The moment people start asking, why am I holding so many dollars? Why am I lending to someone who never pays back? Why does one country get special rules? The magic disappears. And when trust breaks, it doesn't break slowly. It breaks all at once. That's how Spanish silver collapsed. The British pound lost dominance. The Soviet system imploded. Not because money vanished, because belief did. But money only has power as long as people believe in it. Next came trade rules. Old empires controlled trade with force. Modern empires control it with agreements. Countries were told, you're free, you're independent, but if you want access to global markets, here are the rules. Open your economy. Protect investors. Follow these regulations. Use these systems. Price things this way. No soldiers. No invasion. Just a choice. Follow the rules or be excluded. It was like joining a massive marketplace. You could sell anything you wanted, but only if you followed the platform's rules. Break them, and you weren't punished. You were simply erased. And finally, there were institutions. In the past, empires sent governors to run countries. The modern empire sent institutions to manage crises. When countries faced financial collapse, the IMF and World Bank appeared, not with tanks, but with loans. And those loans came with conditions. Cut spending, restructure your economy, change your policies. It wasn't force, it was pressure. Like borrowing money from a bank that also tells you how to live your life until the loan is paid back. Then there was SWIFT, the global financial nervous system. Cut off from it, and a country couldn't move money internationally. Trade froze. Businesses suffocated. No bombs, no war, just silence. And NATO tied it all together. An alliance that promised protection, but also ensured alignment. Countries didn't need to be occupied. They only needed to stay inside the system. This was the modern empire. Clean, efficient, invisible. People didn't see domination. They saw order, stability, prosperity. And for decades, it worked. But here's the part history always repeats. Stage 1, military overextension. Why being the strongest can still be dangerous. On paper, the United States looks untouchable. It has the most advanced weapons ever built. The most powerful navy in history. The most expensive military the world has ever seen. No country comes close. So naturally, people ask, backhand index pointing right, how could a nation this strong ever be in trouble? The answer is simple, but uncomfortable. Because strength is not the same thing as sustainability. Power versus reach. Imagine one firefighter. He's the strongest firefighter in the city. Best equipment, best training. Now imagine he's asked to protect one house, then 10 houses, then an entire city, then neighboring cities, then the whole country. At some point, no matter how strong he is, he's stretched too thin. That's military overextension. America isn't defending one country. Most nations defend their borders. America defends a system. A global system that keeps trade flowing, currencies stable, and allies safe. Look at the map. The US has military bases in Europe, East Asia, the Middle East, Africa, the Pacific, hundreds of bases, millions of square miles of responsibility. And it's not optional, because America has promised protection, the web of commitments. These promises are written into treaties and alliances. If one country is attacked, America is expected to respond. NATO in Europe, Japan and South Korea in Asia, Taiwan indirectly, shipping lanes through the Middle East, counterterrorism missions worldwide. Each promise seems manageable on its own. But here's the trap. Backhand index pointing right. What if crises happen at the same time? The nightmare scenario. Picture this. China moves on Taiwan. Russia escalates against NATO. Iran threatens oil routes in the Persian Gulf. None of these are science fiction. They're scenarios openly discussed in military briefings. Now ask the uncomfortable question. Can one country fight multiple large wars across the globe at the same time? Even American defense planners admit the answer is no. Not because the soldiers aren't brave, not because the technology isn't advanced, but because logistics, manpower, and money are finite. Why money doesn't solve this? People say, but the US spends more than everyone else combined. That's true, but spending more doesn't mean spending infinitely. Every base costs money. Every ship needs maintenance. Every soldier needs training, pay, healthcare, and rest. War isn't just bombs and tanks. It's supply chains, fuel, spare parts, morale. Over time, even the richest empire feels the strain. History's warning. This isn't new. Spain had Europe's best army. Britain ruled the seas. The Soviet Union had millions of soldiers and nuclear weapons. All three made the same mistake. They believed power meant immunity. But power doesn't prevent collapse. Overextension causes it. Spain tried to control too much territory. Britain protected trade routes everywhere. The Soviet Union policed half the world. Eventually, the cost exceeded the benefit, and the system cracked. The real danger. Military overextension doesn't end suddenly. It looks like this. Longer deployments. Rising costs. Equipment wearing out faster than it's replaced. Allies expecting protection, but contributing less. Public fatigue at home. The empire still looks strong. Until one day, it can't respond everywhere at once. That's not weakness. That's physics. The key takeaway. The United States is not collapsing because it lacks power. It's at risk because it has too many responsibilities for one nation to carry forever. Every empire learns this lesson. The hard way. Stage 2. Currency debasement. What really happens when money loses value? Now let's talk about money, but in a way that actually makes sense. Forget Wall Street. Forget economics textbooks. Think about everyday life. How money used to work? Very simply. Before 1971, the US dollar was tied to gold. That meant every dollar represented something real. Not literally a gold coin in your pocket, but a promise. This dollar can be exchanged for a fixed amount of gold. Because gold is limited, money was limited. The government couldn't just create endless dollars. If it wanted more money, it needed more gold. This acted like a speed limit on spending. Painful sometimes, but safe. What changed after 1971? In 1971, the US removed the dollar from gold. From that moment on, money no longer needed a physical anchor. Now money could be created digitally, instantly, in massive quantities, with a few keystrokes. No gold, no hard limit, just trust. And at first, it didn't feel dangerous. Why printing money feels good at first? Creating money solves problems right now. Recession? Print money. Market crash? Print money. Pandemic? Print trillions. Stimulus chèque arrive. Businesses survive. Markets go up. People feel relief. It feels like a miracle. But here's the catch. Back-end index pointing right, printing money doesn't create new goods. No new houses. No new food. No new doctors. No new factories. Just more money chasing the same stuff. The grocery store test. Let's make this painfully simple. Imagine a town with 10 apples, $10 total. Each apple costs $1. Now suddenly, still 10 apples, but $100 total. What happens? Apples don't magically multiply. Prices do. Now apples cost $10 each. Nobody got richer. Money just got weaker. That's inflation. That's currency debasement. Why your dollar from 1971 is almost worthless. This is why. If you had $1 in 1971, today it buys about 2 cents worth of goods. Not because companies are greedy, not because stores are evil, because money lost its strength. You feel this every time you shop. Smaller packages, lower quality, higher prices, same products. Weaker dollar. What happened after 2020? After 2020, this process went into overdrive. Trillions of dollars were created in months. At first, stock markets soared, crypto exploded, asset prices skyrocketed. People thought, this is working, but inflation is slow. It sneaks in later. Then, reality hit. The hidden bill arrives. Suddenly, food prices jumped. Rent exploded. Healthcare got more expensive. Insurance costs rose. And wages? They didn't keep up. So people felt poorer, even while working harder. This is the cruel part of debasement. It steals silently. No announcement. No warning. Just a slow drain on purchasing power. Who pays the price? Not the wealthy. They own assets, stocks, real estate, businesses. Those rise with inflation. The people who lose? Workers on salaries, savers, retirees, anyone holding cash. The system rewards those closest to newly created money. Everyone else gets leftovers. The empire pattern. This is not new. Spain diluted silver coins with copper. People still use them until prices exploded and trust vanished. America doesn't mix metals. It mixes digits. Different technology. Same outcome. More money. Less value. Slower collapse. The dangerous part. Currency debasement doesn't feel like collapse. It feels like things are just expensive now. Life is harder than before. I'm doing everything right but falling behind. That's how empires rot. Not with explosions, but with shrinking money and rising frustration. Stage 3, debt spiral. This is where the math turns against you. This is the most dangerous stage of all. Not because of politics, not because of enemies, but because numbers don't care who you are. Let's start simple. The US government now owes tens of trillions of dollars. That number is so big, it breaks the human brain. So let's shrink it. Imagine you're a normal person. You earn money every year. You have expenses, and you also have a credit card. At first, you use it carefully, but then something changes. How the trap begins. You start borrowing not to grow, but to maintain your lifestyle. Every year, you spend more than you earn. You borrow to cover the gap. Then one day, something critical happens. Your interest payment becomes huge. Now you're not paying off the card. You're just paying to keep it alive. And when you can't afford the interest, you borrow again. That's the debt spiral. Now apply this to the United States. The US government is no longer borrowing mainly to build the future. It's borrowing to pay interest on old debt, fund existing programs, keep the system running. This is the key shift. Back-end index pointing right debt used to create growth. Now debt exists just to prevent collapse. That's when things get dangerous. Why interest is the silent killer. Interest is not neutral. Interest grows automatically. The more debt you have, the more money you must pay every single year just to stay afloat. Right now, US interest payments are approaching $1 trillion per year. Think about that. That's more than many countries' entire budgets. More than education spending. Close to or larger than the defense budget. And what do you get for it? Nothing. No beneficios. No innovación. No factories. No future. Just interest. The illusion that hides the problem. People ask, why hasn't it collapsed yet? Because debt collapse doesn't look like a crash at first. It looks like inflation, higher taxes, budget cuts, declining services, fewer opportunities. The system stays alive, but weaker, like someone working 2 jobs just to pay credit card interest. Alive, but going nowhere. History has seen this before. This is not new. Spain used silver from the New World to fund wars. They borrowed heavily again and again. Eventually, interest consumed the empire. Britain financed 2 world wars with debt. Afterward, it couldn't maintain its empire. The pound lost dominance. Power slipped away. The Soviet Union didn't collapse from invasion. It collapsed because the system ran out of real money. Different eras. Same math. Why this stage is so hard to escape. Once you reach this point, every option hurts. Raise taxes, slows the economy. Cut spending, social unrest. Print money, inflation. Borrow more, makes the problem worse. There are no painless choices left. That's what debt spiral means. The scariest part. Debt doesn't destroy empires overnight. It slowly removes freedom. Freedom to respond to crises, invest in the future, protect citizens without borrowing. Eventually, leaders are no longer choosing. They are reacting. And history shows. Back-end index pointing right, empires don't fall when they're attacked. They fall when they run out of options. Stage 4. Loss of productive capacity. The most invisible stage and the most dangerous. This stage doesn't arrive with explosions. It arrives quietly. Everything still looks normal. Stores are full. Phones are new. Cars are shiny. Stock markets still move. So people think, how could anything be wrong? But the danger isn't what you see. It's what you don't see. What productive capacity really means, simple version. Productive capacity is just this. Backhand index pointing right. Can a country make the things it needs to survive? On its own? Not luxury. Not entertainment. Not apps. The basics. Food, energy, medicine, machines, tools, military equipment. A strong country makes these things. A weak country buys them. America buys more than it makes. For decades, the U.S. slowly changed its role. Instead of being the factory of the world, it became the customer of the world. Manufacturing moved overseas. Why? Because it was cheaper, easier, more profitable in the short term. Companies outsourced production. Cities lost factories. Workers lost skills. And Americans didn't notice. Because the shelves stayed full. The illusion of wealth. This is important. America didn't feel poorer. In fact, it felt richer. Why? Because the dollar allowed the U.S. to buy anything from anywhere. Want electronics? China. Medicines? India and Europe. Rare materials? Africa and South America. Industrial parts? Asia. Money flowed out. Goods flowed in. It felt like success. But here's the trap. Buying is not the same as producing. If you stop producing, you lose. Skills, infrastructure, independence, and you don't get them back quickly. Supply chains, long, fragile, and invisible. Modern supply chains are miracles. A single smartphone may involve dozens of countries, hundreds of suppliers, thousands of steps. They work perfectly as long as nothing goes wrong. But when something breaks, everything stops. COVID was the warning shot. During COVID, the system cracked. Suddenly, ships were stuck at ports. Factories shut down. Truck drivers were missing. And the results shocked people. Empty shelves, shortages of medicine, delayed medical equipment, auto factories stopping over one missing part. This wasn't a money problem. The U.S. had money. This was a production problem. You can't print factories. You can't print skilled workers. You can't print supply chains. The military example. Most people miss this. Even parts of the U.S. military depend on foreign production. Components for chips, rare earth metals, advanced electronics. Some come from countries that are not allies. That means in a serious conflict, money won't matter. Production will. The Spain parallel, simple and brutal. Spain once controlled massive silver mines. Silver flooded into the country. So Spain thought, why work? We could just buy. They stopped building industries, stopped innovating, stopped producing. Eventually, prices exploded. Local businesses died. Foreign suppliers gained power. When the silver slowed, Spain collapsed. Not because it was weak, but because it forgot how to make things. America's version of silver. America's silver is the dollar. As long as the world accepts it, America can buy almost anything. But here's the rule history never breaks. When production disappears, money becomes fragile. Because money is a claim on real goods. If you don't make goods, your claims weaken. Why this stage is so dangerous. This stage doesn't cause panic. It causes comfort. People say, the shelves are still full. The economy is fine. We'll figure it out. That's exactly why empires don't react in time. By the time production becomes urgent, it's already gone. The core truth. Empires don't collapse because they lose money. They collapse because they lose the ability to support themselves. And once that ability is gone, no amount of wealth can buy it back quickly. Stage 5. Social decay. Now with real, recognizable examples. This is the most visible stage, and also the most denied, because you don't need history books to see it. You see on the news. You feel it in daily life. You hear it in conversations. People feel something is wrong, but they're told everything is fine. That gap creates anger. Trust in institutions is breaking. Look at recent years. Confidence in governments, media, corporations, banks, even elections is at historic lows. No matter who is in power, half the country believes the system is lying to them. Every headline is questioned. Every statistic is doubted. Every institution is assumed corrupt. This is why nothing gets fixed. Even good ideas are rejected. Not because they're bad, but because people don't trust the people proposing them. That's not normal for a healthy society. That's decay. Politics turns toxic, not productive. Watch how politics works now. Almost nothing is about solving problems. It's about blaming, shaming, blocking, winning. Budgets get delayed. Shutdowns become normal. Long-term planning disappears. Why? Because in a decaying system, short-term survival beats long-term thinking. This happened in Spain. This happened in Britain. This happened in the Soviet Union. When systems weaken, politics becomes emotional instead of functional. Crime, homelessness, and disorder. Look at major cities. News stories show retail stores locking basic items behind glass. Businesses closing because theft is unmanageable. Police departments understaffed or overwhelmed. Homeless encampments grow. Public spaces feel unsafe. People avoid areas they once enjoyed. This isn't because people suddenly became immoral. It's because rules stop being enforced consistently, and opportunity dries up at the same time. When legal paths fail, illegal ones expand. That's not ideology. That's economics. Drug overdoses and mental health crisis. Another signal, addiction. Overdose deaths rise. Mental health emergencies flood hospitals. Therapy wait lists stretch for months. This isn't coincidence. In collapsing systems, people numb reality. Escapism increases. Despair spreads quietly. Drugs, alcohol, screens. They're coping mechanisms when the future feels closed. History shows this pattern clearly. The quiet signal everyone misses, birth rates. This is one of the most important signs. Birth rates are falling fast, not because people hate children, not because of culture wars, but because people ask a simple question. Can I afford a future? Housing costs, education debt, healthcare bills, job insecurity. When people don't believe life will improve, they delay families or abandon the idea entirely. This happened before every major collapse. Spain, Britain, the Soviet Union. Hope disappears first. Population decline follows. Young people disengage. Watch younger generations. They delay adulthood. Distrust institution. Avoid long-term commitments. Feel the system is rigged. Some check out emotionally. Some escape digitally. Some leave the country if they can. The most talented don't start revolutions. They leave quietly. That's how systems hollow out from the inside. This is not moral failure. This part matters. This is not because Americans are lazy. Not because society is evil. Not because one political party is bad. This is what economic exhaustion looks like in human behavior. When systems stop rewarding effort, trust collapses, cooperation breaks, society fractures. People don't become worse. They adapt to dysfunction. Where we are now, let's be honest, the United States has completed 5 stages of the historical collapse pattern. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually, the most dangerous way. The scariest part? Most people still think collapse looks like invasion or war. It doesn't. It looks like cynicism, division, apathy, exhaustion. What comes next? Stage 6 doesn't announce itself. The world doesn't dump your currency overnight. Instead, trade shifts. Alternatives emerge. Trust erodes slowly. And then comes stage 7. That's when leaders react instead of plan. When systems break faster than they can be fixed. When collapse stops being academic. History doesn't warn gently. It repeats until people listen. History doesn't collapse with explosions. It collapses quietly, while people argue, scroll, and look away. Every empire thought it was the exception. None were. The danger isn't what's coming. The danger is not recognizing the pattern until it's too late. If you want to understand power before it shifts, money before it breaks, and history while it's happening, subscribe to GeoHistory Newsfeed. We don't chase headlines. We reveal the system behind them. Because those who see early never panic late.